It's cool, man. You know, like it's still taking some getting used to. It still doesn't seem like it's like a thing yet. You know, nothing's really changed. You know, like aside from a bunch of people saying congratulations. I'm kind of used to just being overlooked, so I'm kind of like used to that. So it's just a new thing for me to kind of get used to. But it's cool. It's like getting noticed by your peers, and just being looked at for the work that you do. You know, like that means something to me in a different way from you know, like maybe, you know, what something may sell, or you know, like everything. There's a lot of different layers to what you would call success, you know, how you would look at success, and to kind of break down those kinds of barriers at this juncture in my career, and sort of do some of the things that I'm not supposed to be doing, you know, like in the proverbial rule book that's been created. I love to be able to just apply myself and kind of move the goalposts around how I want. I get a real kick out of that on some levels. So it's kind of a win in that regard already. And I also love to like be forced to, you know, see things from a different perspective. You know, like I've always been anti-Grammys and man, they not this and that, but they my boys this year. You gonna go to the show. I don't have any problem with the Grammys because I'm nominated. So that tells me I was making it about me. And then I'm looking at like some of the artists that are complaining, and I'm like, y'all got the bullhorn all year. You know what I'm saying? Like, you guys are on your major label platforms, and you fucking, all we hear about is y'all. And you get one little snub, and now you're crying about it. And it's making me look at them different. And I'm going, oh, that was me. So I got a whole new kind of outlook on it. Yeah, and you know, I didn't know that this album got submitted. So when I found out I was nominated, Joyner Lucas called me, and I was getting 50 DMs and text messages all coming in, just popping in. Like, what's going on? And I answered the phone for Joyner. He was the first person I answered the phone for. I'm like, yo, what the fuck is going on? Yo, congratulations. I'm like, on what? I thought he was like talking about something with Marshall's album. I had no idea what he was talking about. So that was pretty cool. It's it's cool to have a pleasant surprise with the vibe that's in the air. You know, like we literally don't know what we're gonna get surprised with every single day when we look at our computers. So it's like when somebody calls my phone like excited, I gotta hear a little bit more to know even what I'm dealing with. Like, are you yelling, crying, like laughing? What's going on in good old America today? You know what I mean? So, you know, good surprises are good. I've been making my adjustments, you know. I've been making my adjustments, getting to know myself better and better. Learning that I've been realizing that I've been pretty much making adjustments my whole life. You know what I mean? So the whole pandemic thing is just even more major adjustments. And the older I become, the more I start to care about certain things that I may not have paid attention to before. So, you know, and adjusting to that, everything triggers me. You know what I mean? Like my understanding of the importance of me unapologetically and very intentionally loving my people. You know what I mean? And like filling the void that is there. Like back to that rule book we're talking about. It's taboo for us to love each other, support each other. You know, like we're much more comfortable talking about what's wrong with something. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that? You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to make adjustments to things that wasn't necessarily in my lexicon of things to say and do prior to. To me, that's growth on some level. You know what I mean? And as long as I can get better today than I was yesterday, then I feel all right. And if I can get some music done throughout the process, that's cool too. You know what I'm saying? So I've just been dealing with it, you know, as it comes, and I'm realizing that it's a lot more going on up here than just music. You know, like it's a lot more. You know what I mean? Like the music is like a thing now where it's like I can give you that however you want it. Like it's all about how much fulfillment can I get out of giving it to you? And that's really where I'm at with it. And it's like, how can I help? How can I do my part? And it's not, it doesn't always end up being a 16 or a song. Sometimes it's other things. You know what I mean? So I'm just constantly thinking about that. It wasn't that challenging, not as challenging as I thought it would be. Because Book of Ryan was designed to not be able to be topped. That was the goal for Book of Ryan, because I just feel like every artist should have that one self-defining album at some point in their career. And whatever that album is, that should be your magnum opus. That should be the album that can't be topped, because it's you, it's who you are. But also what I learned after you finish that kind of album, it's just a new beginning. You know, so you can express many things in many ways. It's just all about what you're drawn to, and you know what's coming out at the time, and who you are at the time, and how can you fill some sort of void in the marketplace, and how can you move things forward. And I found that in production, you know, just the process of learning how to make beats. And you know, the more I got into the Allegory, the more I realized that, you know, it's gonna be hard to compare the two, because you're talking about two different parts of my heart. You know what I mean? Like, I'm connected to them in two different ways. And it was fun to be able to express things that aren't necessarily my ideologies. It was fun to be able to be a vessel in some regards. And it was fun to be able to combine a whole lot of different layers of myself. It was fun to be able to bring across mixtape Royce here and there on Allegory. It was fun to make the skits. It was fun to just be free. You know what I mean? Book of Ryan wasn't free. Book of Ryan was nitpick central. The Allegory was like, I started off just, my only goal in my mind was just to learn how to make beats. I feel like I've been producing for a minute, you know, just my role within Slaughterhouse, you know, everything, producing, every sense of the word. Like, I was that kind of involved in all of the projects. The only thing I wasn't doing in the production process was actually making the beats, but everything else that goes along with that, I've been doing that for a minute. So this was just a good way for me to kind of like close the gap. You know, and it was like, how would it be if I'm actually the one laying the drums, picking the drums, picking the sample, chopping the sample, learning the equipment, learning the hardware, learning the software, all of the things that, like, I've been around for so many years, and I kind of felt like eventually I'll learn this stuff. It was just a good time to just start learning stuff, you know, engineering myself, you know, like cutting my own vocals, mixing the B-Nex, you know. I just hit a point where it was just like, I just wanted to just like start just developing new skills, you know what I'm saying? So, and that's all it was. It wasn't anything deeper than that. So it was just like, that turned into practice. And I think that kind of like separates somebody like me from the average run-of-the-mill person who decides that they want to try their hand at something. Like, if I'm drawn to it and I really, really want to get good at it, I won't stop practicing. And I don't mind practicing. I like practicing. And I don't mind making very, very bad beats. I've made very bad beat after beat after beat after beat after beat until they finally started just sounding a little bit better. And that was the light that I needed to see at the end of the rainbow, at the end of the tunnel. And I stayed at it, and I stayed at it, and I stayed at it. And like, from the outside looking in, it kind of looked like I learned how to make beats really fast, but I didn't. I put my 10,000 hours in a long time ago, because I would not leave this keyboard and the computer. I would not stop going down rabbit holes. I would not stop searching for shit to sample. I would not stop collecting records. I would not stop making drums. I would not stop getting drums from people. I would not stop bugging Premiere. I would not stop bugging all my producer friends. And you know, eventually it just turned into, wow, I like this beat that I just did. Wow, I just made another one. This one's good. I'll actually play this for people. You know what I mean? Like, it turned into that. And then one thing led to another. And when I was finally able to start like writing and rapping to them, then, you know, it just turned into, you know, another day at the office. Yeah, I sent Marshall some stuff. Yeah, I always sent him stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So my first placement that I got was on his album. So that was a dope accomplishment. And I love when I can send him something and he gets excited, man. That makes me excited. It makes me want to work. Sometimes I need that. It's always a new dynamic because you never know what he's gonna be on. And it all depends on what headspace he's in. You know, he can do so many things, you know, and like whatever he chooses to do, he's gonna be great at it. He's gonna strive to put his best foot forward. And just the level of just the competition level of just what you have to put into it in order to be able to coexist from a competitive perspective is just stressful. You know what I mean? So I mean, that's pretty much what my experience is like whenever I'm working with him.
Yeah.
You know, like whatever he's doing, you know, like I'm a new producer, so producing his first single is stressful because like it's on the same album as a Dr. Dre beat. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's just a level of stress that's fun. And I'm up for that challenge, but it's like, it's definitely always a different mind frame. And then like with those beats that I gave him for that album, that was my first time working with somebody where when I come around, I have to find out where I fit and occupy that space and not go past that. You know what I mean? Because that's his shit. I'm just here to help. You know what I mean? So I'm just here to do my part. Actually, I didn't even get summoned here to help. I'm just here as a friend and I'm playing him stuff and he's liking it. So it's like, now I got to just adapt to that. I've been doing little stuff here and there, production wise. I just kind of go where the vibe takes me. I'll have no problem at all doing a project where I do none of the beats. No problem at all. None. So it's really like I don't know if my heart feels like I want to do another project where I only want to do the beats. I don't know if I want to do that again. I don't know. I'll just have to see where it takes me. But that's not like, I'm not drawn to that right now at this second at all. I love like, I miss rapping on premium beats. You know what I mean? Like I miss rapping over masterful beats, like beats that I feel like are like, they're the best at what they do. Like I miss collaborating with those guys. You know what I mean? Like, but I had fun doing everything myself. I had fun putting all the weight on my shoulders. It was just a fun task to do and get off, you know, out of my system. But to approach it that way every time, never. I like Beat Butcher. Beat Butcher. He's really good, man. I like Derringer that works with the Griselda guys.
Yeah, it's great.
I think Madlib and Alchemist, I like what they've been doing with the collaborative projects they've been doing. I mean, I'm sure there's more, but I like a lot of people's beats, man, and a lot of times I don't know who did it. Like I like the fact that, of course, Hit Boy. I like the fact that aside from Hit Boy, there's not like a it person that everybody feels that they need to go to. I like that. I like the fact that a lot of movements are like self-contained and they got like their own producers who you never heard of, but the beats are really dope. I love that. You know what I mean? I like Mike Zombie. I like T-Minus.
Sure. I
like, you know, Khalil, Boy Wonder. I just like people who are just good, man, good at what they do. You know, I'm not much of a wave guy. You know what I mean? These guys exist in any era, in any climate. No matter what's going on, they can exist and they're gonna be good. I like that. Benny's had like a few. Conway's had some real good ones. Nas had some good ones on the album. T.I. has some really good ones on his album. Toby and Wigway, always Black Thought. You know, I personally, if I wasn't so humble, I could easily fill the top 5 slots just between LA Leakers and my album, you know? So it's like, it's just whatever you want. King Los is doing great things. Drake had a really good verse on the No Ceilings, on Lil Wayne's new No Ceilings joint. Drake's verse on that is crazy. I love that verse. So it's some great verses out there. The music that's not so lyrical, if it's not great, it's not gonna stand the test of time regardless. And I just think hip hop has grown to such a magnitude now that what's in the spotlight isn't necessarily what's best for the culture. It's a different agenda behind what's in the spotlight. So what's in the spotlight isn't necessarily what's most important. You know what I mean? So there'll always be something in the spotlight that's enjoyable, but it's not necessarily what speaks for the culture. It's just a layer. And right now, we're living in a world where you don't have to like anything. You know, you don't have to listen to anything that you don't like. So it's like you literally can find the things that you like and only focus on those, and you don't have to be bothered. You know what I mean? So like the whole theory of like radio and all of that stuff, the spotlight and this and that, and who's hot and who's not, who's on the charts and all of that. Nobody cares about any of that shit in a couple years. How well did it age? And it's like you got some artists who aim to do that, and then you have some artists who aim to provide something for the moment in that moment for that spot. And it can be something that's not lyrical, but it's not gonna last. It's not made to last. I think the actual music is taking a little bit of a backseat because it's like execution and presence. Execution, presence, and intention is the kind of the caveat right now. You know, everybody's looking at everybody. You know what I mean? Like, I'm looking at Kendrick right now, but I'm not necessarily so focused on how's the music going to be. I kind of trust it. It's going to be something that's going to shift the culture because that's kind of what his job is. But I'm looking at him. I'm in admiration. Like, how does he stay so quiet? And I know he's going to come out and be so loud. And like, it's cool that he does that. I like that he has that thing. You know what I mean? And like, I like the intention behind it. And I like the fact that he moves with a purpose. That's intriguing to me, you know? And it's because he makes music so well, it's what opened that door for me to view him that way. It started with the music. And I just think that because artists like Kendrick executed so well, Cole, Drake, they executed so well, now us fans, we skip steps with everybody. So now it's kind of like, you'll be hard pressed to find somebody who doesn't have a presence outside of their music, you know? So we're just looking at each other right now. So yeah. I don't know if there's a certain like music that people are following. I think aesthetically, I think the artist who knows what works for them and what they want to say, that's what will resonate the best. You know, if it's a reflection of what's going on right now, and it impacts in a way that makes people pay attention, then it'll exist in a way where it'll always matter. You know, like I've been at work all day, I'm having fun, you know, conspiracy theorying somebody's album. You know, like I'm having fun typing my opinion. You know, so like it's just like you have to give them that. That's what they're here for. That's what, you know, that's what they're right as a fan, and like that's their moment. You know what I mean? Like there's certain things that happened in our moments in our fanfare that they'll never get to experience. You know what I mean? They'll never know what it's like to pull the artwork out the sleeve and be able to open it all up and read who did what, and everything's tangibly in your hand, and you had to wait for it to come out, and nothing leaked, and everything, you had to go to the record store to get it. That's a whole different experience. Now, you know, the narrative is everything. Everywhere is the barbershop, and that's fun. You know what I mean? Sometimes some people's albums are funner to talk about than they are to listen to. It's something to be said about that too. So us artists, we just gotta make sure that we're not reconciling everything. Sometimes some shit just is what it is. You know what I mean? Like, if you wanna read what the critics have to say, then go listen to what the pundits have to say, then go to the barbershop and hear what they have to say. And if you wanna listen to what everybody has to say, then you gotta take what comes with that. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if it puts you at a place where you're reconciling it, there's something deeper there. You might want to seek therapy. You know what I mean? Like, it's really, you can't, with so much going on and how messed up everything is, you just can't look to that for validation. You know what I mean? Like, you have to find some point of fulfillment and go to that point and then give it and let them have it. You know what I mean? Once you give it to them, they're not gonna give it back. It's yours, take it and do whatever you want with it. Talk about it however you like. You can't validate me. It's done, it's done. A win is a win. I finished. My fulfillment comes in completion, you know, completing albums. You should be able to reflect on your whole life and just be able to notice the points where, you know, it was time to turn a corner, it was time to grow a little bit, reinvent. You should be able to locate and identify with points of stagnation, long points of stagnation, due to anything. You know, just all kinds of stuff. So I can listen to things sonically and just say, wow, I was in that place. Oh, okay, I know why I did that. I know why I did that. Like, oh, was I singing right there? Like, it's like you know, you can hear the growth. You know what I mean? And I think it's cool to be able to hear the growth. You know, I think it's cool to be able to listen from this to that and say, oh, I caught on to that. I learned that because I literally grew up in music. You know, I went around Dr. Dre when I was like 19. You know, I was fresh out of the open mic. I didn't know how to make albums. I didn't know who I was creatively. I had to figure all of that out through making mistakes. You know, so it's just like my discography is just a reflection of that. It's the proverbial thing. It's the proverbial decision that artists make, and it's the thing that we do to make other people okay with it. You know, like, it's the thing that we do where we're going against our better judgment. So, you know, because we're not sure. You know what I mean? Like, it's like stylist. I need a stylist? Okay, if you say I need a stylist, I never thought I needed a stylist. But, you know, if that's what we're doing, if that's part of it, if that's what being signed to a major label is, then I got to play ball. So, you know, if they present this to me, this Rhinestone Doorag to me, maybe not in that moment, I can't tell that it's ridiculous, but something is telling me it's not a usual decision that I would make, but hey, you know, I got to try things, man. Oh, well, I'll give it a shot. And when you do that, when you give things a shot, you got to take everything that comes with that. And the Rhinestone Doorag is forever encapsulated in history. You know what I mean? And it's like, instead of looking back at it and going, oh man, I had on a Rhinestone Doorag, it's like, embrace it and teach. Use it to teach. Because just like I can look back at that, the younger artists are going to come in and they're going to make decisions just like that. Just like that. You know what I mean? So my thing is, you don't have to wear the Rhinestone Doorag. You don't have to make that Rhinestone Doorag decision, because there's a Rhinestone Doorag decision attached to every new artist project and process. You know what I'm saying? Well, I mean, it's a lack of information, I think, mostly. It's just a lack of information. And coming into the business, 9 times out of 10, you're a kid. Everything that you think you know about what you want out of the music, you got from just watching TV, looking at other artists. So you think you want to be famous. You think you want to be rich. And automatically, in order to achieve that, you have to go sign with a major. You know, you look at somebody like Russ, he's rich. He's not as famous as he could be if he was signed to Universal. So if you want that, then you go the Russ route, but you're still going into that blind. You're still making adjustments going into that. And I think, like, other directions to go is not even, you don't even identify that as an option because you don't have the information. And like, the only difference between Russ and somebody else that's independent is just that he took in more information, you know? And I think it's really cool that he's sharing that information. I think the reason why there's such a disconnect in information is because information is being hoarded by artists and people thinking that they're in competition with their contemporaries. You know what I mean? And we're not. We're supposed to be like a unit. And the same way, like, if Spotify decides that they want to lower the percentage in which they pay out, like, the same way that they come together with all of the labels and make one blanket statement to let us know that, that's the way we need to be. You know what I mean? So it's like all of those options should be presented in front of us, and our youngins coming in should know exactly how to navigate through those. But it's not like that, you know what I mean? And it's like everybody's learning as they go. So just like the fear of the unknown is why, you know. So a lot of times artists are just taking like the road with the less resistance. We don't always get out ahead of things, you know. Sometimes the music is in disarray. Sometimes it takes an artist or two to come through and just do the right shit that fills the right void that balances things back out. And I think you guys got to read the room in the same way. You know, sometimes media can just be looking crazy. It can look like everybody's covering the bullshit, or it can look like everybody's focusing on what'll get clicks and all of that. And I think whoever your greats are, whether it's you or whoever has a higher calling than just, you know, like the run of the mill, whoever those people are, that's their time to spring into action and provide some sort of balance from a media standpoint. There's always going to be a relationship there between artists and media. It's going to be a love-hate relationship, you know, because you guys are in a tough spot, because some of us artists, we only want to hear you say one thing about us. You know what I mean? And that has really nothing to do with you. It really just varies with artists, you know what I mean? So it's no way to please all of us all the time. All you guys can't, you know, cover only the cultural shit. Some of you guys got to be fucked up people, some of y'all, to provide that balance. You know what I mean? Like, media can't be all peachy across the board, because that's not really American, right? So it's like, you know, it's just about somebody having the wherewithal to provide that balance. And it's the same with labels. You know, it's the same with labels. You're gonna have those companies that adopt the ideologies that steal from artists, and then you're gonna have the companies. Chappelle just did the thing, and he described his relationship with Netflix, and I thought that was cool. Like, Netflix actually took the stuff down because he told them he didn't like the way it made him feel. And like, for them to care about that is like such a dope step, because the day of the big conglomerate machine treating the artist like we're second rate, or treating Dave Chappelle like he's not a national treasure, it's like a thing of the past, because we all have a microphone now. We all have a voice. You know what I mean? So it's like, there actually may be a day where the machine and the creator can actually have a real relationship. Right now, that's not even possible. You know, like, the machine prospers more when you don't know things. So it's like, when it's to your detriment, that's when it's worth more money to them. So why in the world would I ever want you to have information and know what you are? Why in the world would I want that? You know what I mean? So it's like, how can we have a relationship? Michael Jackson left Sony owning half of their publishing. And when his contract was up and he decided he was moving on as opposed to renegotiating, they were infuriated. They loved him when they were making money with him. And they don't have the mental fortitude to say, you know what, we made a lot of money with him and we wish him the best and he made us a lot of money. No, if we can't make money with you, then we want to ruin you. We don't even want you to exist. So it's like, why would you think that you can have a relationship with that? And even to take it deeper, you put all your energy into building a relationship with that while you think that you're competing with who you should be building a relationship with. It's just backwards. Everybody's following this anecdotal regurgitation of just stupid stuff, shit. Like, the machine, they got their talking points down. They got their story down pat. You know what I mean? Like, they got us fooled. And it's just like, we're repeating things. Oh man, you can't do that. What I'm doing right now in my career is like, it's like dispels everything. It's like all of these rules you guys created, it just looks stupid now. No, he's too old. You can't do that. No, you can't. Independent album? No, you can't do that. Lil Baby's gonna get nominated for everything. You know what I mean? Nobody listens to that. It's all about numbers. No, nobody. What's my favorite one? the attention span. You have to shorten your songs. The attention span. People don't like long songs. People don't like long albums. You don't know what people like, bro. Nobody can answer these questions, man. It's like nobody can do that. There's somebody right now listening to a long album. I'm not one of those people, but they're out there. You know what I'm saying? I skim through things. I've indulged in music so much over the years that I'm not a music listener guy so much. You know what I mean? Like very rarely do I just kick back and just listen to music. You know, like I don't drive a lot. I don't go a lot of places. Sometimes I just need to be left to my thoughts. You know, and I don't always have the luxury of being able to listen to things as a fan and not analyze. You know, like I'm kind of stuck in that space sometimes. And I have a wide range of things that I love. I can listen to Stevie Wonder and it can make me happy. You know what I mean? And then I can turn around and I can listen to The Chronic, which is one of the greatest albums of all time. And I go down rabbit holes just depending on what's gonna make me happy. You know what I mean? So I've watched artists like the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill defied all the anecdotal rules. She came out, she was battle rapping, she was dissing all of the hot girls. She had long verses, and she did everything that they said you're not supposed to do, and she shifted everything. You know what I mean? Like, because it was great music. It's not open to the public, but right now, it's kind of like my house. You know, it's kind of like my house. It's like right now I'm going through this kind of transitional phase where I'm having a lot of visual ideas. So I've been like buying cameras and like I'm building sets in my studio. So I got like sets, cool TV sets that I'm building in here. So like my goal, my ultimate goal is just to be able to like flesh out all my ideas and actualize visions, like actually bring them to life without having to outsource for anything, because I love spending all my time here. I just need to be able to maximize on all of the space that I got here. You know what I mean? Like no space goes to waste. You know what I mean? And I need to be able to do it myself, you know what I mean? And have fun doing it. So that's kind of like what I've been doing. You know, I adapted to LimeWire, I adapted to MySpace, I was a completely different person for all of those eras. The better you do, it would just be based off of how well you understand where we're at from a technological standpoint, because it was a moment in time where it was like, okay, this is obvious. Technologically, how things advance, it's what's gonna control shit. You know what I mean? Like, and now that's what it's about. It's like literally Get Rich or Die Trying was like energy and numbers at the same time, because it was like, you heard it in every store walking in the mall, you heard it in every car at stoplights and shit like that. Now you can do those same numbers, 1 million the first week, and never hear it. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy, but you know what? It'll be 1 million the first week, not because 1 million people ran out and bought it, but because you have a certain fan base who takes in music a certain way that garners more numbers. So you're talking about a whole different conversation. You're not talking about like, that's the biggest artist right now. That's not the biggest artist right now. That's a big artist right now, but that's not what 50 Cent was at Get Rich or Die Trying. It's almost like that's a thing of the past now. So you can either look at it that way or not. It's just all the elements, and everything else that you consider great just has all those elements. You know, like marketing dollars behind you, you deliver. If there's a point, everybody's watching. Are you gonna deliver? You delivered something great. Now it exists and it's never going anywhere. That's every classic that you can think of. And it's just existing based off of the generation that it came out in. You know, so a lot of things that Drake does, you know, the way that they market that guy is like, yo, he's the longest, he's been around the longest, the most hits and the most. It's like, bro, he's the first of his kind. I definitely agree with that. So you can't really compare him to Jay-Z. It's just a whole new energy that this is our first time seeing it. So it's like, you can't compare him to Wayne. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to compare him to Wayne because Wayne's like catching charges and shit's happening to distract you. But you don't realize how important Wayne is unless you know what you're looking at. You know what I mean? Like, you don't realize how important Cash Money Records is because of the other things that overshadow what they are. You know, like, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's so many other things now. He does numbers because he's one of our greats. But it's because of his journey, it's easy to forget that. It's easy to lose sight of that. And it's never been put in perspective properly. It's never been broken down and placed in front of you the proper way, what he has contributed. Like, nobody really repeats that enough. It's not enough people going, oh, well, you know, he gave us Drake and Nicki. Nobody says that. They just go, Drake, look at Drake. He's so handsome. Drake, 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 Drake. You know what I mean? It's like, because Drake has you in awe of his greatness. But Wayne is a different level of greatness. Like, Jay-Z is a different level of greatness, man. They embody so much. Kanye, what he was able to achieve. Now, I remember that guy was around the culture as the beat maker that was dope. And he started making albums that we like, amazing albums.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Like, that's tough to do, man. College Dropout is a tough thing to achieve. You know, it wasn't cool to not be an aggressive rapper at that moment, man. You had to be a tough guy. Just the way that some of the albums have performed and have existed. Like Roddy Ricch, man. Roddy Ricch has existed in a cool way, man. A lot of energy around his album. And I haven't really heard his album like that, but everything that I've heard in passing has been pretty good, really dope, and pushing the envelope, moving the needle. I like that. You know what I mean? Griselda has released some really good albums. You know what I mean? I think they get overlooked in a lot of ways when you start talking about bodies of work. They got some good bodies of work. I had to think. I'm definitely gonna be looking at all of those lists though. I don't know why I care about those lists. There was a point in time where I was happy to be mentioned. Yeah. And then it started getting to a point where it was like, all right, I'd like to be a little higher up there. You know what I mean? Like now it's just like wherever you got me, that's gonna teach me something. Like, that's interesting. If I'm not on there at all, that's gonna teach me something. You know what I mean? Like, that year-end list shit is what birthed the bar exam.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, bar exam 4 came from people not including me on enough of the year-end list. I was pissed off. That's where those freestyles started from.